Hello, thanks for listening to another one of my recordings, where I try to make sense of the world around me through the eyes and senses of a person with what's so-called attention deficit disorder, which is, to me, it's kind of a superpower. For many years, I thought something was wrong with me, and I was very different. In terms of employment and social situations. I always had very strange mannerisms and kind of like, not OCD, but I'm very like robotic and rote, I guess is the word, with my skills. Like rote meaning you use the skills and apply them, like they don't like super come naturally. Except for if I get, put into a creative environment, I'm able to be very creative. But anyways, this is just my thoughts on the world and whatever I'm trying to make sense of. So again, I thank you for listening. And I've really not been making videos every week like I've been wanting to, because trying to cope with this pandemic and learn a new routine for my lifestyle and not drinking too much. Thank God I got over that. I was drinking too much there for a while. A couple beers here and there to cope's not too big of a deal, but when you're trying to like down a 6-pack because, you think the world's ending, and then spending the entire next day or half a day nursing a headache just so you can get out, go to work it's ridiculous. It's not the thing to be doing in a pandemic. So, yeah. There's that. Thank God I'm over that. So, I don't know. I just want to see how everybody's coping. How are you coping? And what are you doing to cope? I've just realized after a couple of months that I didn't have a routine. So I'm starting to wake up and I do a glass of water, I do some stretches, and have something small, like light. Like I may eat some yogurt and hazelnuts for breakfast, and then when my body's more awake and moved around, and I've got, I've got my blood flowing and all that, then I'll eat a meal. And, I'm building up my, my life in a whole completely different way, where I was very depressed for about a month into this pandemic. Well, at first I was working at the post office and only there for 2 months. And I was only there for 2 weeks before all this COVID shit started happening. But I tried to stick it out, and I didn't make it. I did not make it. I wasn't fast enough. I was probably somewhat of an attitude when they would nag me to go faster, the supervisors, because I just don't agree with that, you're not good enough, so you need to be better employment mentality. I've never believed in it, and I've never been okay with it. Authorities, or any kind of like employment authority telling me, better, faster, more, faster, better. It's like, let's evaluate each other here. Not saying I have defiance issues with authority, but I do have a very huge disagreement with people telling me that I'm not good enough, and when I'm all that I am is all that I am. And bringing back to like what I was talking about, the economy and stuff before, it's our systems are crumbling, and they've been crumbling for a very long time. Who knows? I can't tell you how long, but I do know that along the lines, shit started crumbling, and it just trickled down into our culture of not being good enough and needing to work faster and work harder and be better so you can have more money to buy the crap that you can barely afford, that you can't afford. It's just a mentality of, what am I going to say? Hoarding. The mental condition of hoarding. How many people do you know that have hoarding, a mental condition? I know I do. I've been working on it for years. The fact that, I have been raised in a society where I think I have to be better, faster, more, and I don't even know what I have or what I need, and I don't even appreciate what I have, is what I mean to say. Because I never learned how, because I was immersed in an environment, in a culture where nothing was ever good enough, and the only way you can get something good enough is to get money to afford something that was better or good enough. So I'm talking about this today because I was doing my door dashing for fast food deliveries, and I was at one restaurant, and they had on the TV screen, they had that show Hell's Kitchen. And I've been thinking about what I'm talking about right now for a long time, but then watching the show Hell's Kitchen made me really be able to solidify my thoughts on what I understand of our U.S. Western culture, and how just shattered it is in morals and of success. Oh my God. Okay, so I was watching this show, Hell's Kitchen, and it's that guy, Gordon Ramsay, I think his name is, and I always got kind of annoyed that people like to watch this guy, like, yell at people. But since I've been thinking about what I'm trying to talk about today for weeks and years maybe, I was watching Gordon Ramsay yell at these people, and it was this first night of this new restaurant opening, and all these fancy people are out in the restaurant waiting for their food, while Gordon Ramsay is back in the kitchen yelling at people and stifling their ability to be better cooks. There was like 8 cooks. There was like a red team and a blue team. And he is just going in with the attitude of they're gonna fail. And just treating, and then one cook was crying, and the words that come out of this cook's mouth was, I don't know, as he's sobbing, right? His tears and snot. And he's being interviewed on this show, Hell's Kitchen. And he's sobbing and he's crying, and he says, I don't know, I guess he was just telling me those things to make me better than I am, I guess. And this poor guy, I mean, he probably would have been a really, really good cook. He looked competent. And, this other Ramsay dude, he's yelling at all the cooks, and at the very end of the show, actually, well, wait, before the end of the show, this lady, one of the restaurant patrons was trying to eat there, and she goes up to Gordon Ramsay, in the middle of him being an asshole to all these poor cooks, 8 cooks. And this lady's trying to get an answer. Why isn't her food ready? She's been waiting for 2.5 hours for her food. And Gordon Ramsay tells her to fuck off. He told her to fuck off. And I'm watching this, and I'm thinking about how crumbled our culture is with our, employment situation, and everybody's like feeling of worth, attached to money, and how hard they work for their money. And here Gordon Ramsay, he's the one who's been yelling at these cooks for like hours. And he's telling the lady in the restaurant to fuck off. And he's the problem. He's the one who's the reason why the cooks aren't getting food out. And I'm just like watching this, comparing it to all the jobs that I've had. I mean, not all of them, because some jobs were really great. I've had, don't get me wrong. Not all employers and companies and businesses operate like this, but the majority of companies operate like this episode of Gordon Ramsay's Hell's Kitchen. Which is just like bantering at people and badgering them to make them go faster, work harder. And it just looks like that guy, Gordon Ramsay's got a mental illness for telling a lady who wanted her food for after 2 hours of waiting to tell her to fuck off. And it just reminded me of so many bosses that I've had to work for over the years of my 40-year-old life. The bosses who, they just spouting off, you have to go faster because this reason. And they're not doing what you're doing. They're not even seeing you learn. So they're not seeing you. I've had supervisors not see me learn incorrect methods of doing things and then do them for a week or two. And then I get caught by a supervisor doing something wrong. Oh, you're not supposed to do it like that. I'm like, well, I was taught to do it this way by the person who you wanted me to learn from. No, we don't do it like that. We do it like this. And do it like this. Go faster, faster, more. And that shit caused me so much anxiety. I mean, being a person who suffers attention deficit, whatever. It's like what I like to call it. Attention deficit, whatever. Being a person who has such, like, you know, mental sensitivity, I guess. That's what it is. My mental sensitivity causes me to be very good at things when I'm, like, given a chance to, like, learn things. Some things take me a really long time to learn. Some things I'm just pick up and I do like I've never done it before. That's what, like, same with most people, I'm sure. But, like, speaking from a person who suffers attention deficit, whatever, because I can't say disorder. I'm so sensitive to people coming down on me harder than is necessary, and it just makes no sense. Like when I was working for the post office, they're just telling me, well, we've invested a lot of money and time into training you. And I wanted to say, well, I invested a lot of hours driving at 4 or 5 in the morning to Seattle, an hour and a half drive in the morning, you know, trying not to crash my car because I'm tired. Doesn't matter how much sleep I got, driving that early in the morning is hard for people. And I can't have caffeine because caffeine makes me even more tired. So caffeine doesn't work on a person with attention deficit disorder. It'll make them crash mentally and, like, physically. So that's kind of like my point, is what I'm trying to make my point here is our systems of, like, employment, even if it's a good business, there's still this underlying culture of, you know, nothing's ever going to be good enough, and we're never going to make enough profit, and to sell cheaper shit for more money. And how can we cut costs? How can we cut the quality of our products and our workload and cut the quality of our humanness so that we can have more profit? It's a no-win situation for everyone. For the customer, it's a no-win situation for the employees, who would be very good employees if they had better leadership, better management. So that's my 2 cents, if it even matters. But having to, like, you know, have my thoughts always going like they do, I've learned to be quiet. And this is going to be the only way that I can really get, like, my actual thoughts out to people, because not really many people want to sit and listen to me. But if it's on a video, you can just click play and then you can click stop when you don't want to stop listening to me talk. So, yeah, Gordon Ramsay's a jerk. And he is a reflection of all that is wrong and has been wrong with our employment situation for a very long time. And not to leave out, not to not appreciate the good business owners. We could appreciate the good business owners, because there are good people, decent people in the world who realize that everybody's just trying to get along. They're not trying to, like, screw anybody over. Everybody, you know, there are good employers out there. And I even think, like, hoarding is an issue for even the good people who have got good hearts and who are not trying to take advantage of people, because we've got, like, so many underlying reasons why our country is just gone to shit, since it was taken from the Native Americans and founded. That point was when everything started getting, I think a lot of ways our culture and our society operates is just based on anxiety and fear and winning. Even when people don't even know what they're winning, they just conquered something. It's enough to drive me mad. But I don't go mad. I just make a little 15-minute YouTube videos of how I think about it. So I appreciate you listening, and we'll be doing moon meditation magic on every full moon and every new moon. And tomorrow is a full moon, it's March 7th, and I'll be doing a little centering and protection, kind of centering and teach you how to protect your energy. Little meditation for the moon time. So I hope you would attend. The link for the Google Hangouts is in the description of this video. And it's not a really lively group. I mean, it's just kind of little bits of chit chat here and there. I might put a tarot card in there for the day or the week if I'm feeling it. But I created this group to help cope with the COVID crisis and to help y'all learn how to use the moon energy to help further your life in a positive and supportive way. So we'll be talking a little bit about the moon energy tomorrow night on a Google Hangouts at 8 o'clock. We'll be talking a little bit about the moon energy and how to protect our energy, and a little bit of meditation with a personal message from me, and if you so wish, a little bit of interactive discussion if you want. And if you were to join the Google call, and you can push mute the whole time, you don't have to talk, but you're not required to participate. But if you want to just watch the presentation, it'll be live 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And I hope you all join, and I hope that anything that I can do to help people get centered and calm is important to me right now, as it helps me to help others. And I appreciate you listening to my video, and I hope you have a blessed day, and join the Hangouts call tomorrow if you like. Talk soon, and be well, and stay safe, and goodbye.